RMJ Movie Reviews back again with an on-the-fly movie review of The Purge election year. Well, quick flashback, quick rewind, whatever you want to call it. I'm trying to come up with some little quote. But rewind back to when the first Purge came out starring Ethan Hawke. To me, well, when I saw the previews for it, I thought it looked exactly like The Strangers, the movie with Liv Tyler and Scott Speedman. And I was like surprised nobody pointed that out. I was just like, why is nobody pointing out that this is exactly like The Strangers? I mean, just down to the costumes of the way the intruders look. But that was basically a home invasion movie. I hated it. I did not enjoy it at all. I mean, the whole idea of being able to have one night out the year where you can murder and kill and rape and pillage and all that stuff, I kind of think for an outlandish B movie, it's a cool idea. You know what I mean? For just a B movie, let's just go in with a drunk crowd on a Friday and Saturday night and just laugh at the goofy violence and the goofiness of just this grand guignol horror show. It's a cool idea, you know? But the first movie I hated. The second film, The Purge Anarchy, I really liked The Purge Anarchy. I mean, I really liked the second film a lot. What I like is that, like I was saying, The Purge, as many people have pointed out, is a home invasion movie a la The Strangers. And The Purge Anarchy is more in the vein of, John Carpenter's Escape from New York, Judgment Night, a horrible made-for-TV movie that aired on USA back in the day. I think it was called Survive the Night, where like these group of like women are like running around from like some cheesy like gang of white kids. It's a really, you guys might be able to find it. Or what's the other one? The other one where Tony Todd Candyman was like playing these gang members, and the guy who made the Ghostbusters song and some white guy running. I forget the name of that movie. But you guys, B movie fans might know what I'm talking about. But the Purge Anarchy was in the vein of like running around all night for your life, running from the bad guys to various different locations. And I really liked the Purge Anarchy. And Frank Grillo, I think is his name. Good actor. You know, I liked him in that movie that Jason Statham had, Homefront, even though he had a small part. I like him in Warrior. I liked him in oh God, why am I'm having like a brain fart. I've been working so hard this past week. I'm having what was that movie called? Pride and Glory. I think he was in Pride and Glory. I liked him in that. He's a really good actor. And I like the fact that, I know there was a whole internet craze where everybody wanted him to be the Punisher, and I really think he would be a really good new Punisher. But I really like the fact that he's basically like kind of the Punisher and Snake Plissken, especially in that second movie. And I like that he had a cool car. But I like that second film. Now on to The Purge election year. I liked it. I did not enjoy it as much as The Purge Anarchy. I've heard some people on the internet say that election year is better than Anarchy. I disagree with that. I think Anarchy was a much funner movie than this one. I think it's a cool concept, you know, and I think it works well for this trilogy that, you know, you could have, you know, these three movies. And I like how there's a good story arc here. You know what I mean? This Purge thing is crazy. I mean, people who heard the previews for the original movie was just like, this is insane. And I like how within this universe they acknowledge that like, this is like a crazy idea, and they actually have somebody who's running for president, and she wants to put a stop to the Purge Anarchy. I think that's a cool idea. But basically, this is it's the exact same movie as Anarchy. You know what I mean? This does not harken back to the original Purge. This is exactly like Anarchy, it just expanded upon a little bit more. Kind of why I did not enjoy The Purge election year as much as Anarchy is, number one, Frank Grillo still gets to do the Punisher Snake Plissken thing, but the thing is, I just felt like he wasn't kicking as much ass in this one. Now, don't get me wrong, he gets to kick ass, but to me, I would have liked if he would have been able to kick a little bit more ass, you know. And I would have liked if they kind of would have had some of Frank Grillo's stuff be a little bit more action oriented. I don't mind the blend of action and the horror, you know, and this doesn't have a lot of horror in it, but it's got horror elements to it. But I would have really liked, now there is a part at the end where Frank Grillo gets a one-on-one hand-to-hand combat fight with the guy who's like kind of leading this assassination hitman squad that's going after the lady who's running for president. And I thought it was a cool little fight. Wasn't the best, but it kind of harkened back to kind of The Hunted with Tommy Lee Jones and Benicio del Toro, where you got two cats coming at each other with knives and it's brutal and there's blood. I thought it was kind of cool. Not the best fight in the world, but it was nice to see Frank Grillo like do his thing and really get down. And I wish there would have been more of that. And I kind of wish Frank Grillo more would have driven the action in the movie. I mean, this one he kind of gets a lot of help, which is cool, but I really wanted to see just him being the man kicking ass a little bit more. And I would have liked if there would have been kind of a little bit more suspense, because Anarchy had a little bit of suspense in it, and I would have liked if they would have just had more action set pieces in it, because there's a lot of running and kind of a lot of driving around, but I didn't feel there was enough action set pieces for me personally. But you know, those were my kind of issues with it. I wish it would have been a little bit more action oriented, just kind of from what was set from Anarchy. But outside of that, you know, it's a fun B movie. I like how it really, one of the cool things about this movie is, let alone, they really have a good way of creating this insane world, and how like basically this entire city turns into like a world of like psychopaths, you know. So it's very much it very much leans to Escape from New York, because that's how Escape from New York was. Within that little prison, it was just like a world of psychopaths. And I like that the Purge Anarchy very much builds on kind of those ideas that John Carpenter set in that film, you know what I mean. Kind of, if some of us want me digressing a little bit, maybe you could have saw some of this stuff maybe in Escape from LA. They didn't go that route, but I'm just throwing that out there. But yeah, I really love that they really create this really insane world, and I love the costumes. The costumes are really outlandish. The costumes are actually so outlandish in this thing. This definitely harkens back to something you might have seen, like Roddy Piper's movie Hell Comes to Frogtown, or just any one of those wacko, like insane B movies you might have seen on Cinemax or HBO, like back in the late 80s or the early 90s. So it's really nice that they got a film company that's kind of really just going old school to let's just have a bonky, wacko time at the movies on a Friday or Saturday night. So I like the film. Could have been more action oriented. Another thing I want to point out is that Michael T. Williams from a lot of Michael Mann movies, he was in The Wonderful Species too, because everybody knows how great that movie is. And he was on a few episodes of Miami Vice back in the 80s. You know, Bubba Gump from Forrest Gump. I'm sorry, Bubba from Forrest Gump. He is, excuse me, but he is like cooning it up big time in this movie, man. What in the hell, blue cheese? These my white people. I'm like, oh my, I'm sorry to say, he's kind of an embarrassment. That's the way I felt, you know, the portrayal. I mean, don't get me wrong, like I'm cool with, you know, I kind of feel like sometimes in these fun kind of movies, sometimes like, particularly for black actors, sometimes you have to play up the stereotypes and man, I ain't gonna go in there and die, you know. I mean, it's fun to kind of play that up sometimes. Sometimes it could be annoying, and for me personally, I was kind of a little bit annoyed by it, because I felt there was times where he was kind of low key and it was all right, but I kind of felt he kind of started cooning it up a little bit, and I was just kind of like, come on, dude. You've done a lot. You've done Michael Mann movies. You've done good stuff, bro. You don't have to sink this low. That was how I felt about it. You know, anybody else, to each their own, but that was how I felt about it. But then again, he was cooling it up in Species too. You know, I mean, they had this dude chopping up a machete. They had this dude chopping the aliens with a machete and was like, I'm like Kuta Kinte. I hate you, mother. And I'm like, seriously, bro? Again? Like, Either way, that's my little comment about his character. But outside of that little nitpick, I think the atmosphere is crazy enough and wacko enough that you're submersed in this insane world. And also too, I really like I like that there's a good story arc here and Frank Grillo. So you get more of the same. To me, not as good as Anarchy, but still, it's an okay afternoon time waster, So that's my review of the Purge election year. Thumbs up my channel, subscribe to my channel, share the video, and leave comments down below about the Purge election year, the Purge Anarchy, or the original Purge, and how you felt about it. I'm gonna be back with some old school movie reviews, and I'm just gonna enjoy the rest of the summer day. RMJ Movie Reviews. I will see you soon.